City Council Ways and Means Committee, we are back in session for 3 bills today for voting sessions. We will start with Council Bill 23-0381, Ordinance of Estimates for the fiscal year ending June 30, 2024. I'm Eric Costello, Councilman from the 11th District, Chair of the committee. I'm joined to my left by Council President Nick Mosby, Councilman Robert Stokes, 12th District, Vice Chair of the committee, Councilman Chris Burnett, 8th District, Member of the committee, Councilman Isaac Yitzi Schleifer, 5th District, Member of the committee. To my right, Councilwoman Danny McCray, 2nd District, and Council Vice President, Member of the committee, and Council Vice President Sharon Green Middleton, 6th District, Member of the committee. Councilman Ryan Dorsey, 3rd District, the remaining member of the committee, has an excused absence today as he is out of town. Before we begin, I am going to pass it to Council President Mosby for brief remarks. Mr. President.
Thank you, Mr. Chair and colleagues. Just real quick, I want to state for the record, I think as we approach, hopefully, this last committee hearing on this particular bill, I just want to express my gratitude to the hard work of this committee, particularly the chair of this committee and Chairman Costello, and to all the individual members. I think that extends far beyond this committee, but also goes to the entire council. I think throughout this entire budget process, it's been a very substantive, very poignant process. I think that this council has not been afraid to kind of ask the tough questions and really dig down to the nitty-gritty of detail that the council desperately wanted and needed. And on the flip side, I think the administration has been extremely responsive to the requests and to the concerns of the council by providing information. I think from a BBMR perspective, Madam Director, you've been nothing but a gem throughout this entire process. We truly, truly appreciate you, and we look to continue to work with you in the future. Obviously, this was new to everybody. It's new to the administration. It's new to us. As it relates to the abridged time that this council has to work with in comparison to our colleagues around the state as well as our colleagues around the entire country, I think with the skill set, the resources that we had in place, where we are today, really speaks to the level of intent and the level of professionalism and dedication and hours that have been poured in. So with that said, Mr. Chair, again, thank you for your leadership. Thank you to this committee for your leadership, understanding and knowing that this is the first time in 125 years that the city of Baltimore has undertaken this task. And I take a step back and I'm excited about the job that you guys have been able to do. Thank you, Mr. Chair.
Thank you, Mr. President. Thank you for your leadership throughout this process. I echo the President's comments regarding the Budget Director, C.A. Leach, and the entire administration. Appreciate the collaboration during this budget cycle. Colleagues, emailed out to you earlier this evening, and on your desk are 2 packages of amendments. The first package is 22 amendments. These amendments reflect successful negotiations with the administration that we've conducted over the past 2 weeks. They totaled $10 million in cuts. I'm not going to read through the list of amendments, but there are 22 on this list. These amendments go to support council member priorities and citywide priorities. I'm going to very briefly touch on what those citywide priorities are at this time. Those include $1 million in support for vocational training through the Dante Barksdale Fund. They include support for our Main Streets programs, in addition to the existing operating support provided by the city. They include a centralized infrastructure project management office within the Mayor's Office of Infrastructure Development, increased youth opportunities, including support for community school strategies, school-based health services and resources, support and outreach to families across our city, additional after-school funding for rec and parks in the amount of $800,000 for after-school programming, upgrades to our public safety infrastructure, including $2 million for the City Watch program, sustainability efforts across the entire city related to composting and maintenance of our tree canopy, increases to worker safety, specifically at the DOT Pulaski Highway location and to our DPW sanitation yards, funding for criminal apprehension fund, funding for the private home security camera rebate program in the public safety bucket, as well as $3 million for fire equipment apparatus to allow the fire department to reach its optimal fleet level. At this time, I will offer to the committee one of two options. I will either move the entire package of 22 amendments as one package, or will entertain any requests from any member of the committee to bifurcate any of the amendments out and vote on them individually. Colleagues, are there any requests to bifurcate any of the amendments at this time? Seeing as there are none, I move the entire package of 22 amendments. Is there a second to that motion? Second by Vice Chair Stokes. Costello is a yes. Burnett? Yes. Dorsey is absent. Excused. McCray? Yes. Middleton?
Yes.
Schleifer?
Yes.
Stokes?
Yes.
This package of amendments passes. The second amendment, which will be voted on or moved separately, is a cut to arts and culture, mayorality related. This is specific to BOPA. We heard extensively during our hearing with BOPA a significant laundry list of issues with the governance and administration of that organization. The council president, the mayor, and I issued a joint statement highlighting our continued commitment to support arts and events funding to support our local and very diverse artist community in this city moving forward. We want to reiterate that commitment today. I'm going to turn it over to the council president in a moment for additional comments on this one. We want to thank the hardworking staff at BOPA who have done incredible work and send a very clear message to them that we support their efforts 100%. We are going to be communicating directly with the board at BOPA to inform them of the expectations that we have for how they will reconstitute their board. And if they make demonstrable progress toward those efforts, we will be supportive of entertaining a supplementary appropriation to fund them at an additional quarter prior to September 30th of 2023. So this cut in total would reduce their total allocation of approximately $2.32 million by 3 quarters. That money at this time we are not proposing to reallocate. Mr. President, do you have any comments you want to share on this proposed amendment for BOPA before we proceed?
Yeah, 1 second. If I could yield a quick second to Vice Chair Stokes.
Vice Chair Stokes, floor is yours.
Mr. Chair, I just want you to explain to the public that there will be no layoffs in this budget for BOPA.
Thank you, Mr. Vice Chair. Yes, that is correct. We fully intend to keep the functionality of BOPA in place. We want to reassure the staff at BOPA that the council is not taking actions that threaten their jobs in any way, shape, or form. We are incredibly appreciative of the hard work that they do every single day to promote our city, to put on world-class events, and to support our local artist community. Mr. President?
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Just 2 seconds. Again, I think that this is the council's approach to ensuring that we protect the arts, but do it in a way that's beneficial to all, in a way that is fruitful to all. So again, as the chairman expressed, as well as vice chair, this is not a concern regarding the individual employees. This is not to change any operational procedures as it relates to the personnel at this time, but this is merely what the council worked with the administration on to ensure that we continue to put on world-class events as well as promote the arts in the right and most fruitful way here in the city of Baltimore. Thank you, Mr. Chair.
Thank you, Mr. President, and we certainly appreciate that the mayor and the administration support this approach 100%. At this time, I will move Amendment 1 on the mayoralty-related art and culture sheet. Motion to move Amendment 1. Is there a second?
Second.
Second by Vice Chair Stokes. Costello is a yes. Burnett? Yes. Dorsey excused absence. McCray?
Yes.
Middleton?
Yes.
Schleifer? Yes. Stokes?
Yes.
This amendment passes. At this time, there are two proposed amendments which were offered by Councilmember Ramos. We, at the beginning of this process, issued guidance to council members in an effort to help effectively manage the process. Council members were advised that committee members could introduce amendments during committee. Obviously, any member of the council, per the city council rules, reserves the right to introduce an amendment on second or third reader. There is an amendment from Councilmember Ramos, which proposes to move $1.5 million from mayoralty-related arts and culture, which would defund BOPA and create an Office of Arts and Culture in the mayor's office, and move money for Waverly Book Festival to Waverly Main Street. Is there a council member at this time that wishes to introduce that amendment on behalf of Councilmember Ramos? Seeing as there are none, that amendment will not be considered by the committee today. There is also an amendment which was offered up for the committee's consideration by Councilwoman Ramos. This is a cut of $5 million to Service 622, which is Baltimore Police Department patrol function. This is in order to increase salaries for in-rem attorneys at the Department of Housing and Community Development in the amount of $5 million in Service 749, Property Acquisition and Management. At this time, is there a member of the committee who wishes to introduce this amendment on behalf of Councilwoman Ramos? Seeing as there is none, the committee will not entertain this amendment today. There were also two amendments offered up. Councilmember Burnett, those have been withdrawn, and there was an amendment offered up by Councilmember Cohen, which would cut $1 million from the mayoralty-related arts and culture and reallocate that funding to the Enoch Pratt Library for Peer Navigators. Councilman Cohen has withdrawn that amendment. At this time, I move that we move the bill favorably as amended. Is there a second to that motion?
Second.
Second by Councilman Schleifer. Costello is a yes. Burnett? Yes. Dorsey, excused absence. McCray?
Yes.
Middleton?
Yes.
Schleifer? Yes. Stokes? Yes. This bill passes as amended. It will move to second reader at 12 noon today or shortly thereafter. Next up, Council Bill 23-0382, Annual Property Tax for Fiscal Year 2024. I move the bill favorably. Is there a second? Second by Vice Chair Stokes. Costello is a yes. Burnett? Yes. Dorsey excused absence. McCray?
Yes.
Middleton?
Yes.
Schleifer? Yes. Stokes? Yes. This bill passes with 6 yes votes and moves to second reader at 12 p.m. today or shortly thereafter. City Council Bill 23-0383, operating budget for the Baltimore City Board of School Commissioners for the fiscal year ending June 30, 2024. I move the bill favorably. Is there a second? Second by Stokes. Costello is a yes. Burnett? Yes. Dorsey excused absence. McCray?
Yes.
Middleton?
Yes.
Schleifer? Yes. Stokes? This bill passes with 6 yes votes and moves to second reader at 12 noon today or shortly thereafter. The committee is now in recess.